Hi, I'm Rob.
Hi, I'm Tim, and we
are
are the
the All
All's
Cools
Cool
Gamekeepers.
Gatekeepers. All
All
editions,
editions of Dungeons and Dragons.
all, and I mean all. So hey man, I got a question for you.
Okay.
What got you wanting to play D&D all those years ago?
Growing up in Cassopolis, my childhood best friend lived across the street in the corner named
Bill
Bill.
Stitt.
Bill
Bill
Stitt.
Stitt.
Bill Stitt. Yeah,
Yep.
and he had an older brother named Bob, and they were playing Dungeons and Dragons, and they were using the really beginning edition there.
The Mold Bay edition.
Yeah. So I just remember this, and then getting involved with them.
Right.
Everybody knows that how it's pretty basic back then. You only had certain classes you could play. So
Yeah, I remember the basic classes. Yeah, I'm a fighter.
it seems like when the days I was over playing, it's like when that story broke that when Reagan got shot back then. I seem to remember being over there maybe the days we're playing Reagan. So that tells you how old that was.
1980 at least, because Reagan came into office in the 80s.
Yes.
And I didn't start playing till 82, spring of 82.
And I wasn't here yet. I was in Cassopolis.
Right.
Well, Tim is at Niles now. So.
Right. So anyway, you were saying about Reagan getting shot when you guys were playing.
And I remember MTV just starting at the time too, because it was on the cable.
Yeah.
We didn't cast. Cable wasn't a big thing as it was, in South Bend or something. Cable was
Right.
just starting to go around. But I remember having cable and MTV just getting started. Reagan was shot, so that's what I can remember about first starting to play. The D&D.
Right.
The old boxed edition like this.
Right.
So,
I remember meeting you when you moved down the street and riding the bus, and a guy, David Thompson, him and I were talking about Dungeons and Dragons. But neither one of us had dice yet, but we knew roughly how to play. And he said something about, hey, Rob plays D&D. And I'm like, who the hell's Rob? I mean, you're just this new kid on the bus at the time. And man, I'm like, hey, he's over there. I don't know who he is. But David kind of introduced us to playing. And I was in 7th and you were in 8th grade at that time. And I just remember that, hey, I had this set. And then you had the blue box set by the time we started playing. And it was like, wow, my first time was with my friend Terry Sheldon. And I haven't talked to him in so long, but anyway. But then, I mean, Terry couldn't play as often as you could, so we played a lot, and I remember that. But I think what got me into it was the Hobbit cartoon by Rankin and Bass, and it was just so cool. And I think the thing that stuck out the most was the Birds in a Tree song to me from the Hobbit after they left the Goblin Caves. And the orcs with the wargs were chasing them down, and the funny little Birds in the Tree song. It stuck to me, and fighting orcs and goblins was like something that I wanted to be able to pretend to do. And it was just, I don't know, yeah, it stuck with me. And I read the book from the library, the pictorial book, not the actual book, because God, that would have took forever.
Yeah, I remember seeing it pretty large.
But that's what got me into it, and here it is, 40 years later, I still like it. My wife says you're a big ass nerd, and I'm just like, yes, right. But that's what I remember most about D&D, and that's what got me into it was that. What do you think? What is the thing that makes D&D most enjoyable for you?
I think making the character your own. Invest in the character. Plan ahead. What do you want to do? What's your path? What kind of road are you going to set for your character? I know games that we're going to get started. It's going to be a serious campaign. That's what I'll do. I'll start researching.
Okay.
What do I want to go with this character do? I want to multi-class it here and get this and something I'm going to have fun with. Trying to make sure I'm going to have something I'm going to have fun with and not
Right.
just be bored and have, just bored basic skills and stuff.
Right.
Not trying to be the most powerful at the table, just stuff to make it fun, enjoyable, and make me invested. That's what I do. Invested into my character.
All right. How do you feel about backstories?
Serious campaigns. I look forward to doing a backstory. I'm not huge long backstories. I'm making something simple, and I might, a lot of times I give the DM little hints here that he might want to do down the road,
Right.
like he saved a mysterious, he saved somebody mysterious, and then didn't realize who it was, and then some more powerful force sees what you did, and later on he might give you something, something compatible with your level that would give more ability of magic item or something,
I totally get that. I mean, I like backstories. I don't like them to the fact that, well, hey, we don't really need a 30-page backstory for a level 1 character yet. I mean, I'm going to traumatize your character enough as a DM to give you enough to write about.
Yeah.
But, I mean, I understand that. Like, I've always played the Paladin. And people are like, why do you want to keep playing the Paladin all the time? Well, because I've never got to finish the story. I start up my Paladin, he wants to do good, and the game fizzles out, and I never get to have the end game to it. And so I keep starting over. My old Paladins, I just keep pushing them off as new NPCs for future campaigns if we ever get there. I mean, Gregor, my Paladin I love right now, if it wasn't for COVID, I probably would be able to. I would have finished his story, but because of that, I mean, it's put a lot of dampering on it, and mom getting sick and cancer and dad having strokes. It's just made it really hard for me to spend the time with it that I want to, and I really would love to get that and to write this new Curse of Strahd campaign with you guys, and just because I feel potential, which really is cool because you're all melee class, the 4 of you, and there's no casters in it, and it's just like, oh yeah, this is going to be a slaughterhouse. You guys are going to power your way through some stuff, but you're going to be weak after the fight, and I'm like, yeah, this might be good. So
yeah, I like the Paladins too, and I really like playing the Paladins, and I get me just a little bit of ribbon and teasing by by what a DM that runs the other game there,
right.
But it's it's all fun, and I did get almost the end game experience with my Paladin. I got to 19th.
You're talking about Ethan's game?
Yes, I got to 19th. We got to 19th level. We didn't, we go back for every now and then for like a one shot with these characters.
Right.
Because, this character's still important to me, and to me the story's not dead with my character.
Right.
I want to get to 20th level. We haven't quite got to 20th. We got to 19th. It's been a while
Right.
since we played, but we played other campaigns. Ethan's running, and so I'm hoping one day we'll get back and get to that 20th level and finish what I wanted to do with her.
By that time, they'll have the rules, the official rules for level 30, and you'll be like,
that'd be
oh,
cool.
it's nowhere over.
Right. We actually have, it's actually got, stuff as it leveled up, things change.
Yeah.
So, the weapons changed a little bit, actually the weapons were like a symbiote at one point with me. And then, and I was, something,
You kind of like Marvel's Venom symbiote? I mean, you could,
yeah.
Okay.
The weapon automatically come out of my hand.
Okay.
I couldn't be disarmed. They could not be taken away from me. So eventually, that progressed. It got a little bit better,
Okay.
We found it, and then, down the road, saying, okay, I'm getting high enough level that every paladin should get their Holy Avenger. So
Right.
I told him that. So he made us thing where I'd go down this cave, and there's one of the person in the party helping us, helping me come down, and I had the feeling my Holy Avenger was down there, and my symbiote was jealous of other weapons.
Oh.
So I actually had like a flame tongue or whatever, and they got jealous. So I had to give that to another character, and then what it did is it created a second weapon for me. So it was
Okay.
a total symbiote, which was really cool. I really had fun with that. But
Good.
the symbiote did not want me having Holy Avenger because it was so jealous. So it bursted out of my body. I had to take a lot of damage. And, it became its own.
About how
man-
much damage do you think you took?
Oh, I think I think I made a save, so I want to say maybe 60 points after I made my save.
And about how many do you think you had at that time?
It's probably up into 190. No, it's probably over 200 because
Okay.
what it did at one point, it created a second. I could create a second over me pop out.
All right.
Each of us had half the hit points of the original.
Okay.
So some of my I gained levels and got to where I can increase my abilities. I said, well, I'm going to need to take the toughie because I need more hit points
Tough feat, love that feat.
And so when I separate, I'm going to have more hit points, and it's going to have the other half of the hit points, and we're both fighting together.
Okay.
So that's how that was working. And I was like, man, this is kind of tough because we only got half the hit points now. One of us could get knocked down,
Right.
so I made it tough. So
You're not really the tank anymore.
no, I was a front line person, but I really, I really wasn't a tank, but I was a front liner
Okay.
based on that. And then so eventually it ripped itself out of me.
Okay.
I mean, so took a good amount of hit points, and then I got totally vengeance, and then I had to fight it, and then kill it,
Okay.
and then that was it. Was gone.
Okay, so but once it essence was gone, was your hit points restored?
Yes, I went back.
Okay.
I went back to being. I was actually. It didn't take my half hit points; it was ripped out of my body.
Okay.
So I had my normal amount. So so we had had that little fight. I had, like I said, I had one of the persons in my party helping me, and I got my Holy Avenger, and went on, and you'll probably have a one game session after that where I actually got one. I got to use my Holy Avenger once.
Okay.
One session, and so we haven't been back to that, but it got real close to the end game that I was shooting for. So
Okay. Yeah, that's I always love. I mean, end game sounds great, and because but then after that, what do? Do you retire the character? Do they become a patron to someone else? To one of your new characters, Oh, remember we did that as kids. Like, remember there was Hawk and Hawk Jr.
Oh,
You
yeah,
know,
yeah.
Arak and Arak Jr. We made extra characters. I mean, like, and we had everything in the Monster Man or the DM's Guide. Like, what do we got? Oh, you just keep rolling down the charts, and oh yeah.
And people just look back and see how funny it was, and we weren't really playing like we're supposed to be playing and stuff,
But we had fun though, and
We
it
had
kept
fun.
us here. So 40 years later,
Yeah.
we're still here. It was memorable enough.
Yeah.
It's not like it blackens your eye and you're like, I ain't never playing that again.
Yeah, it was just
You
you
know.
and me upstairs and the kitchen table.
Yeah, and it's funny as we're here in my mom and dad's basement. I'm 51 years old in my mom and dad's basement.
I don't think about that, but
That's one of the things. It's like, yeah, here I am. I'm an adult. My wife is upstairs right now in my old bedroom from when I was a kid.
watching TV.
Yeah, she's watching TV, and but yeah, it's 40 years later. We're still playing. We're having fun, and but there's not really any guys at our age in our group. I mean, our groups are, well, one of our groups with John and
Yeah, one-
Scott and Damon. They're our
We're
age.
close, kind of close, yeah.
But we didn't know these guys growing up. And then the group that he was with, his Paladin, is a bunch of young kids in their teens and 20s. And they have a love for it. I mean, it's so great that these people are coming together to play a game, even though the additions have changed and the rules. I mean, you go back and play 1E. I mean, it was a grind. But we played 2E with Tim Bartz not too long ago.
Yeah.
And you guys went at the Temple of Elemental Evil. And like, you clear 2 rooms, and your party is exhausted of spells. Your fighters are beat to heck,
Yeah.
and you got to go rest.
Back
And
to town, yeah.
you got to go back to town because you can't rest there in the temple because there's too many wandering monsters.
Yeah.
I mean, it was brutal.
Yeah.
Whereas 5E, I mean, it gives you a lot more. It flows better to where there's less downtime not fighting,
Yeah.
which is cool and all if you're not a big role player. I mean, I like a little bit of both. 1/3 of my game, I would love to have role playing, 1/3 combat, and then like a third of just a little bit of mixture of both. Potential threats, investigation, or half and half combat, half and half, role playing.
Right. It's funny. I'm 53, so we had my 50th birthday about 3 years ago.
That's when we decided
We
we're going to
start playing second edition. So we probably started second edition when you're in Elkhart.
Right.
And we were anti fifth edition.
Yeah, we're
So
not.
no, we're playing second edition. Playing second edition. We don't want to learn this new system. We know second edition really, really well.
Yeah.
And then one of the guys that was you knew because he came to the shows and bought the walls and stuff that you made out of your printers.
Oh, Tom, wasn't it? Tom.
Yes, Tom.
Tom, can't remember Tom's last name.
So
yeah.
you got him. You got him. He hadn't played second edition. He was a fifth edition and probably might have been Pathfinder. But got to him teaching him second edition, and
Right.
And then he just lived a few miles from me, so he had a spot in his weekday game night. So he invited me. So I went over there. I had to start make a fifth edition character, give it a shot, see how it goes,
Right.
and try to win and play it. And you know, I wasn't playing my character the way I should have been playing. I didn't learn it until later on, so it took a while to learn. Hey, I should have been doing this. I could have been doing that, and all this other stuff. So, and then you started playing with down at the Secret Door with a
Right.
a different group, and then you guys started that, and then I joined in with that group later on for Strahd.
Yeah.
So we started getting into 5th editions. I was like, yeah, this is pretty cool, and got more and more. This is really cool. It's like, so I was getting to the point where I only wanted to play 5th edition.
Right.
But we did start playing a little bit of 2nd edition again, and COVID hit. So
Yeah.
that kind of put a damper on that.
Yeah. Damn. Virus.
Yeah.
But yeah, I enjoyed playing 5e. I enjoyed playing 1e, 2e, basic. It doesn't matter because to me, as a most of the time DM, to me it's about telling the story that I have up here. And I'm gonna tell you right now, all my stories come from all these books. I've read damn near every one of them, and I go through and I read them. I'm like, this is a little cool little plot line. We'll put this over here, and we'll take this, and it's just every story and every movie made nowadays is a rehash of something else. Someone else has wrote this, and they just take a little bit of this, a little bit of that, and they create a story. And that's all I'm doing as a DM. And I really enjoy it because my players come back all the time. They want to play, so I know I'm doing something right.
And you're also doing, like, getting your characters invested. You've done things to get your characters and people invested in their characters.
Yeah.
I just started filling in for Tim while he's taking time off, helping his dad out on Wednesday nights, and so I started my first 5e DM, and we've probably done 6 sessions or so, and we went out. It took them a while to go out and come back to Luskan, where they're based from, and getting rewarded with the magic items. Dealing with Jaraxel. Jaraxel, he runs Luskan. He's basically sent him out.
That's always cool though that you put in a popular character. I mean, if you have no idea about the Forgotten Realms and the heroes that populate it, I mean, he's just another guy to you. I mean, but if you've read the Salvatore books and you know who Jaraxel is, and you know who Drist is, and Brunor or Artemis, it draws you in more if you're a fan of those books. And when you say, oh, hey, they met Jaraxel, you'd be like, it's like meeting a celebrity in real life. You're like, hey, man, I met Michael Jordan. Well, I met Jaraxel.
Most of these guys playing, they're dead. They don't know who Jaraxel is.
Right.
Maybe one or two of the guys. One guy, my nephew, he got pretty good idea who Jaraxel is. But you and I have both read R. Salvatore's books, so
Right.
we're extensive knowledge for that area of the country up there, and
Right.
what goes on, and what's actually currently happening in Luskan right now. So, and I like to use Jaraxel basically runs Luskan. He's basically the Lord of Luskan.
Right.
And I came out and I blatantly told the guy, when I was playing him, I said, I'm the Lord of Luskan. It's simple as this. And I give them each send them over to the quartermaster. They each got a magical item that was I found from the third-party sources.
Right.
The kind of things I like, and so then the
It's
next.
just not a mundane sword +1.
Yeah, it's not mundane. It has just a little bit extra to get these guys a little bit excited about what they got.
Right.
A little bit extra, little bonuses here and there, and then the next day, find out who each patron was, who's the guys, Behidi, who do you worship. Some of the weapons might have a little bit,
Right.
sentimency to them, so they're talking to their character. So so getting these guys a little excited about, okay, this thing's talking to me, my Behidi's talking to me about what could be doing, and not just make sure it's not the mundane board stuff. Hack and slash.
Every party wants a +1 weapon and a bag of holding.
And I'm a firm believer, magical items based on, your level. What's good for your level without, getting carried away.
I think you should have, we'll go old school here.
Yeah.
+5 plate mail, of Ethereumless, a Holy Avenger, and a +5 shield.
Yeah, I mean, back then you could get +5
Oh,
weapons.
wait, I got a +5 bow and a quiver full of arrows of slaying.
Yeah, it's just funny. 5 years. There's nothing above +3.
I like that, and that you have the attunement to where you can't be super overpowered in magic items. Now, it is cool, though, that you do get feats to kind of make your character a little bit better,
Yeah.
and that you could get score adjustments every few levels, boosted your thing. I mean, but you still aren't so overpowered. I mean, like, if we took our 5th level, our 1st edition characters, Arak and Hawk, and we brought them into 5e, they would be super gods
Yeah.
with the amount of hit points and their attacks per round and the weapons that they had. They would just be unbeatable. I mean, you're looking like the Lich King for World of Warcraft type person. Our characters from way back when. And yeah, it's just too overpowered. And that's what I like about 5e is it, you know, it makes the characters more balanced a little bit to where they can't be overpowerful. I mean, you want to keep your magic items good. You like, you know, I don't want to give these people too much stuff. In 5 or 1e, it was way too easy for a DM to give them things that, oh my god, I messed up. I shouldn't have done that. And 5e is just like, hey, I mean, you can have 3+1 sword or +3 swords, but you can only attune to 3 items. You know, okay, so you don't get to wear the other magic items, which is kind of cool. You know, so I mean, you get a lot of heat about that, but I do like it. That's how that goes with the attunement. So you have your level appropriate weapons, and now you may finish. Sorry that I interrupted you and jumped on it. So, but your characters, you gave them you wanted to give them something that wasn't mundane. And where else were you going? I kind of interrupted you. I want you to finish your story there.
Yeah,
Man.
I mean, yeah. Some of them required too. Like I said, I found some third-party sources. I liked it. Gave it
Right.
to them. You know, not everything required an attunement.
Right.
You know, and like I said, they're going to be in contact in certain ways. Either the weapon's talking to them, or their god, their patron is talking to them.
Right.
So it's setting up a story for down the road and stuff.
That's good. I mean, because I don't know how other DMs do it, but to me, it's so much like playing chess. I have to be 3 to 4 moves ahead of my players all the time. Granted, I know they're going to be coming up with some really weird stuff, especially Caleb, because he and Jackie come up with some off the wall stuff at times. You're like, where'd that come from? You know, but so I got to have these little contingents of what I'm going to do.
Yeah.
And you know, and you go into when DMs people talk about a campaign as either a sandbox or a railroad. A sandbox is an open world. Your characters do what they want. Well, on a railroad, your characters can do whatever they want as long as they're on the train.
Yeah.
They don't know where the train's going.
Right.
I mean, they're actually controlling the train. But I like to think of my campaign as more like if you is a trout line. It's a line with a bunch of hooks on it. They're all baited.
Right.
But with every one of them hooks leads to the main line. You could go down here, but somehow I'm going to drag you back to what I have in mind. Granted, yeah, you're railroading me. No, I'm not railroading you. I'm trying to make a good time for everybody. Just one character one out of 4 players, like, you're railroading me. Dude, I've got 3 other people at my table that want to have fun too. I'm trying to make it fun for everyone, you know. So I like to call my campaigns a trout line, you know. Granted, it's not good for trout line, but because he's going to drown and die and be ate. But you know,
sometimes it's hard. You know, DMs that are doing homegrown stuff or whatever, they sit there for hours and hours planning stuff out and planning stuff that you're going to go down to. This is what's going to happen when you go down the road. So
let's
sometimes
be pirates.
yeah, yeah, like the one guy over at
Oh, that was me. I was like, let's be pirates, and Ethan's like, oh,
well, Ethan had a character. He had a guy like that. All he wanted to do was play pirates and be on the thing. You know,
that was Ethan Carter that had the pirate character,
or
wanted to be a pirate,
okay.
And then Ethan.
Okay, I forgot he was Ethan also.
Yeah, Ethan Carter was his name. Now, what is Ethan's other name though? What's his last name? I'm sorry, Ethan. If you see this, I forgot your last name.
Yeah. He may not want it on here anyway. So.
But you know,
I finally found that guy. He pissed me off and killed my character. Now I know who I'm looking for.
What I really want to bring up about homebrew stuff is I like it when a person takes the time to create their own world, because they're putting their creative juices to work to make something for other people to enjoy. This is good if you're the DM because you're the creator and you feel good because, you know, like, hey, I wrote this story and these guys like it if they stay within the parameters of what I've got written. The only thing I have wrong with those things is versus a constructed world like Forgotten Realms or Greyhawk or Dragonlance Corinne is, okay, let's say average age for a adventurer starts out at roughly, let's just say 16 years old. You know, you're kind of mature enough to leave home and take care of yourself at 16. Mentally, you may not be, but you're physically capable at that time to be that warrior. Okay, for 16 years of your life, you've never heard of the town on the other side of the town you live on. I mean, you know things. I mean, like, I grew up in Waterdeep, let's say. I'm sure I'm going to heard in 16 years, I've heard about Luskin, I've heard about Neverwinter, I've heard about Baldur's Gate. I know Baldur's Gate's to the south, Neverwinter's to the north along the Sword Coast. There's a road that leads north and south. I know these things. I know a little bit about the geography I'm on, and I'm like, yeah, I want to go to Neverwinter. I want to see what it's like up there. And so your character has a little bit of knowledge, and that's what's good about these 16 realms, is your character has a little bit of knowledge about what, you know, goes on in the world. I mean, you know that Lord Neverember at one time ruled Neverwinter. And you knew that Elminster was the most famous mage, living mage in the realms, which is cool. But for a DM who's writing all this stuff, I mean, it's almost impossible for him to get all this down for people. And it's just kind of like he's got to make that stuff up on the fly, and he could forget about it if he doesn't write it down. It's just a lot of work for him but you know, him to keep track of this. But if you have never read any of this, it might be easier for you to do that and create it as you go with these players. But with my experience of being around Dungeons and Dragons and reading the novels over the last 40 years, I know so much about the realms and the cities that, hey, I can pull stuff. And granted, they may not know about it, but a good portion of the people have the opportunity to know about it,
Yeah.
which is good.
Some of these guys that in my campaign also, they're not, they may not be all experienced, but I tell them, yeah, your character is going to know this because it's lived there, you know.
Right.
Yeah. You know, your character knows this town because he's lived all life. You know that, you know, this is up to the north. So,
Right.
You know, so even if they've never really experienced it or been around playing D&D, yeah, your character's going to know this.
Right.
So you know.
It's sort of like a metagaming
Yeah.
knowledge. I mean, the stuff that like you and I would know about the realms. I mean, we know so much, but then again, we've been around. I mean, and it doesn't take long. If you're living in Waterdeep, you're going to hear so much. Living in a city compared to like living in a farming community, like Golden Fields. You know, I mean, you would know so much more. You'd get so much more traffic, and you would hear so much more. It's kind of like a little bit of metagaming, I think, in a way. But it makes me, it helps me in my games move smoother. And that's what I want. I mean, granted, I don't know all the rules to 5e, but somebody at the table does. And my job is to keep everything running smoothly. So when we play a 4-hour session, we have 3.5 hours instead of 3, where we're not goofing around and looking up stuff. I mean, because we want to keep it running smoothly. And I think that, like when we get off on a tangent and other people are sitting around, you know, it's not cool for them. But it happens, and I just want to, you know, make everything run smoothly. And
Yeah,
you know.
I hate when you get something dragged down where the guys are spending half your session dealing with what kind of boat are we going to get? We go up down this river, and you know, try to limit that. You spend way too much time on talking about boat, getting a boat crew, which is, you know. So yeah, you want to keep everybody at the table.
Now, Ethan Carter would love this because we're talking about boats.
Right. Yeah, keep everybody at the table interested. And I mean, you are going to have your little down times where something's going on. Someone might start looking at their phone because they know they got time before they have to do anything.
Right.
Other people, you know, talk. You know, that person. These two characters, they're in the store talking to the guy behind the desk or whatever. So these other guys here now. So we can let them do their thing. I can do my thing. Look up something maybe on the phone or whatever. Check some emails, and you know, I'm not. But you know, as long as other stuff's not dragging out your session, then you know it's cool. But
Right.
yeah, I like mixture of role play and gaming and fighting and stuff. It's just, as long as one thing is not dragging down the other, I'm happy, you know.
Chris Hartleroad, him and I met a couple years ago at a convention. I was selling some stuff like this to him, and he said he's having problems. He's getting burnt out on DMing. I said, man, I'll come down to your group down there in Milford and DM for you.
And that was your first 5e.
It was my first 5e game. I said, look, dude, I've only done 2e.
You got thrown right in the fire because you had like 9 players, didn't
9 players,
Jeez.
7.5 hour session.
you?
And the first 3.5 hours, no one rolled the dice. No dice. It was all role playing. And this was a Halloween one shot. They were going to fight the Headless Horseman. you know, and this is where I learned a lot of the mechanics of 5e. You know, like I've got the horseman on his, he jumps off his horse, and the nightmare's attacking this party member over here, and he's going for the one shooting him with a bow, and he runs past this fighter who had sentinel. I had no idea that could force him to stop and now focus on that fighter, and I was like, oh, as a DM, I was so mad, you know, that this rule existed and there was nothing I could do to break it. And
Yeah,
but
you're not a big fan of that because Caleb used it one time. And
I hate sentinel, and you know, at times I think that's where I like running. The attacking player would get a save against that, regardless. I mean, I could ignore you if I want to. You can't taunt me enough. You know, I would just give you a glance and move on.
Yeah. As a DM, you can require some kind of save. But you're the DM. You set the rules.
Right, but if you start doing that and people are like, well, you shouldn't do that. That was bogus. And I'm like, I'm sorry, you know. I was just, but
Yeah.
I killed a few characters that night. I mean, but I'm just like, hey, I made sure I didn't kill their cleric to res them, so they had an opening, you know, and but it was a fun session, and Chris joined our group for a while until he had some problems before COVID, but it was a good learning session for me. I mean, my biggest groups before that were like 4 players, you know, which to me 4 to 5 is the perfect amount, because it just makes everything run smoother, you know. But 9, oh my God, 9 was a
Yeah.
it's
Yeah,
like,
I can't imagine first time.
what did I offer to do for free?
First time DM and 9, yeah.
You know, but almost all of my stuff is I have a setting, and then everything else is right here. It's all my reaction to your action, with known characters and NPCs. But it's fun that way.
Like I said, I like where I've got my base right now, Luskin, and then I can throw in a little something different. Where okay, you sometimes go through a magical cave and you're in a different world somewhere else, a different plane. It's not where I can throw in various things that aren't in the north.
Because of the Hots Tower and all the stuff that was lost in its destruction, that can be hidden,
Yeah.
especially with the Dark Elves and all their mystery that's involved with
Yeah.
them. And
So you could, yeah, like I said, you could somehow find a portal that takes you to somewhere else. It's not the north anymore. So you got this big old city in the north now that wasn't there before, but you're in a different place now. You know,
Right.
So
I mean, you could actually have a portal there that takes you to the world of Kryn, or takes you to Orth, where you know, Greyhawk is at, or to Dark Sun campaign.
Yeah.
Oh yeah,
The characters got to figure out how they get back to the Forgotten Realms once
Right.
they did that. This is stuff I could possibly throw in my campaign. They could end up in a different domain in Ravenloft, not Barovia, but some other thing. And I could, we'll wait till this new book comes out and we can see what can we add in here, what can we throw in here that these guys somehow end up in there. But I'm not going to take them to Barovia.
What, Von Richten's Guide, isn't it, or something like that?
Yeah, when it comes out.
Okay.
So yeah, they might add some stuff that I can put into my campaign because like I said, I'm not going to Barovia. That's your thing. Your thing is the Strahd thing. You love the Strahd thing. So
Strahd, yes.
I'm not going to step on your Strahd stuff. I'm going to do something else.
It'd be nice if Soth was still in Ravenloft. But you have Aslan, the Lich. I think he's still around.
Yeah.
And Vecna. I think Vecna's back in Orth, but if he is sorry for saying that he was still in Ravenloft. But it's just things that I try to remember, and I mean, I can't keep up on it because I've got this big blank between 3rd and 4th edition. You know, I mean, I just got the books. That's it.
Now you talked about Soth being back. Did that happen in his Ravenloft book he had? Wasn't his novel?
I don't remember. It's been so long since I read that.
I said I've been so long since I've read it too, but you said he's back. So
Well, from all the blogs that I've read, and
Okay.
that Soth is no longer in Sithicus, and he is now back in Kryn.
because he had his own domain created for him by the
The
powers
Dark
of Ravenloft.
Right.
You know.
So he's supposed to be back in Kryn, and I can't remember who exactly is now running Sithicus, or Silthicus, or whatever it's called. But then you have also Aslan the Lich, and you have was it Mordenheim, and his monster, like Frankenstein type thing. which I love that Gothic horror thing.
Yes, it's gonna be quite exciting when we get that book coming
You
out.
know,
30 domains, just 30 domains is like, wow. You know, you can think of a few of them that you can think of off the top of your head that you kind of knew about, but
right.
so obviously there's gonna be some new creative stuff, and like I said, I think it's gonna be exciting.
I really hope that all 30 of them are well detailed.
Yes.
You know, like, okay, you get 25 pages in a book, you know, for Strahd and Barovia, and then there's 2 for Silphicus. No, you got to give us more. You have to build upon this, Wizards.
Yes.
You really do. But I'm looking forward to. I'm also looking forward to Candlekeep book. 17 different little miniature or mini adventures. I mean, made by some really cool people. I mean, because I'm going to take a little bit from this one, a little bit from this one.
Yes.
And I'm going to take some ideas and I'm going to put it in, you know, so my players get a little bit of both. You know, I mean,
This is something we're going to review down the line when we get the book.
yes, when we get it, couple weeks, 2 weeks, I think it is.
Oh, Candlekeep, and then
Yeah.
in April, I believe it's the Raven.
I can't remember exactly.
I think it's in
what it is.
April. I think I've seen.
I got it on pre-order from
Yeah,
Secret
something
Door,
like
both
that.
of them. I'm going to call it here, guys. And I hope you enjoyed our little talk today. And we will see you again.
Yes,
and
thank
we
you.
are All School Game
Masters.
Keepers.
Keeper-
Game
keeper.
Keepers.
Like I said, that's the first session. We just stuffed the top of our head. We had
Yes.
no script or anything, so it's just like a test thing. So
All right, Ed.
hope you guys enjoyed it.
See you later.
Yeah.
Bye.